Hey, hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Chastity, and here we talk about beauty, entertainment, TV shows, books, movies, animes, kind of anything else that garners my attention this week. And I lied. We're doing a three-peat, okay? I am really I really don't think I will be able to anytime this week film a third video with how I'm feeling. But today I got a lot of serotonin, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to film these three videos. I'm going to edit these three videos, and I will have them out this week. Now, the week after that, I don't know if there'll be any videos. Hopefully, this funk won't hold me for too long because, like, I really want to, like, film this week. Like, I really do. And, like, talk about what's gonna happen because I feel like this week is gonna be a week something gonna happen. I'm gonna have to, like, clod myself to this camera and try to film, but if those videos don't come out, hopefully they can. But like if I feel like I don't have enough energy, I'm not gonna like film because that'll be a waste of my time and yours. But yeah, sorry, I just need to do these little disclaimers for these videos just so you understand why I'm wearing the same outfit and the same makeup for 3 videos in a row. And today we'll be talking about the best rom-com to come out in the past decade. Yeah, I said it. I said it with my entire chest, and I'll say it again, the best romantic comedy of the decade, and that is To All the Boys I Loved Before. Now, disclaimer, 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 I don't care if you hate this movie. I don't care if you hate the movies, I don't care if you hate the books. I am a lover of both, okay? I have 2 of the books. I don't know where my second book is. I know I read it because I have the first and the last one. I don't know where the second one is, but my room is filled with books, so it could simply be somewhere and I'm not looking for it. I absolutely love these books, and I love the first and third movies so much. Because this video is not just going to be about the third movie. I think I'm going to go through all of the movies just because I wasn't making content when the movies came out. And the third movie being out is the best time for me to talk about all 3, the movies and the books that go with them. But yes, I don't care if you hate these books and movies. I love them, and you hating them means nothing to me. I don't know why you see people enjoying things and you have to shit on their parades. That's not happening here. My conversation, dictatorship. You're talking shit about to all the boys I loved before. You can leave. You could simply click out. You ain't have to tune in. I'm here to gush for God knows how long. Okay, so let's talk about the first book and movie. Now, in my opinion, the first book is my second favorite book of the series. But the first movie is the best movie out of all 3 of them. Definitely for sure. They had pure magic when they were making the first movie. Also, the first movie has a completely separate director from the last 2 movies, and you could tell. The first director is definitely a woman, and you can very much so see a woman's touch in the first movie. But beyond that, the first book and movie is really, really good. Unfortunately, with the first movie, I can tell Netflix and the studio that made the movie did not expect the hype and love that the first movie got. And they were not expecting it to be the most watched movie of that year on Netflix. Because if you never read the books, you wouldn't know that the last 30 minutes of the first movie is actually the first 100 pages of the second book. Because at the end of this book, it ends on a cliffhanger. So, you know, like after the whole, like, lagoon, baby words, jacuzzi incident, and they break up, that is how the first book ends. They simply break up, and we really don't know what's going to happen between Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky. And I think the studio didn't think this movie was going to do good, so they took the first 100 pages of the second book, because that's what the first 100 pages of the second book is. It's them trying to reconcile and get back together, deal with what happened at the end of the first book. So I think that directly impacts why the second movie is as bad as it is, which I'm going to get into. But I feel like because they had to take that much of the source material, you know, they were kind of floundering for the second one. But the first movie is honestly perfect. I think I don't know what happens in the second movie, but in the first movie, Lana Condor and Noah Centinegro have some of the best chemistry I have ever seen. Like, but I don't know, their chemistry was just, it was like dynamic. It, like, you could feel it even in interviews they did together. They just simply are really good friends and have really good chemistry, and that definitely played well in the first book, in the first movie, sorry. And that's why for that whole year the girls were in love with Noah Centinegro when he honestly didn't deserve it. That thick neck nigga don't, no, he didn't deserve all that he got, but because they had so much chemistry, we fell in love with him. And he ran that year. He was in so many bad rom-coms after that, but like nothing that year topped To All the Boys Loved Before. Okay, I think another reason why To All the Boys Loved Before did so good was because we finally had an Asian lead in a romance. Like, oh my god, it was so irritating to just like see a bunch of mediocre white people fall in love over and over again. But like, we got to have an Asian female lead, and again, that was another thing I don't think Netflix thought, and the production company didn't think that a female-led rom-com was gonna do good. Y'all are so fucking irritating. Had no faith. Had absolutely no faith that an Asian-led rom-com was going to do as well as it did. And that's why we get a lot of the missteps in the first creating of the movie. Again, taking the first 100 pages of the second book is really what fucked over the second book. But like, everything in that first movie was so amazing. The sisters' dynamics, the relationships, the drama, the tension between, it was all there, and it was all so good and so amazing. And that is why, like, that first movie is perfect. It is rom-com perfection. Again, argue with your mama about it, because I'm not doing this with y'all. It is a good movie, and I get it. Teenage girls love it, and you hate anything that teenage girls like. Oh well. To All the Boys Loved Before is great. I'm sorry. I don't care that like all of y'all hate it. Again, you hate joy and happiness. That's not my fault. Okay. Now, in my opinion, the second book is the best book. I know where my second book is. I loaned it to my friend. She has it. Wow, not me, just it all hits me right now. But anyways, so sorry. So sorry. My friend Amanda has the second book because that's who has it. So I gave it to her so she could read it. Wow. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm so excited I know what book is now. But anyway, in my opinion, the second book is the best book in the entire series. That book changed my entire feelings and thoughts of Peter Kavitsky. Because that first book, I fell in love with Peter. I thought Peter was so great and so amazing. And that second book gutted me. I was like, that man is a terrorist. Okay, that man is a horrible individual. And unfortunately, the second movie did not hold up to the power of the second book. And again, I think they were kind of floundering on what to do because the first 100 pages of the book were in the last one. I feel like if they would have ended the first movie on a cliffhanger, they probably could have salvaged the second movie and gave it a little bit more, because it felt pretty hollow compared to the second one. Again, there is a completely different director, and you can tell. Very rarely can I really tell the difference of directors, but because there's such a stark difference in the first movie and the second movie, it's very obvious not the same person did it. And like, a lot of the directing and stylistic choices were really bad and not good. And as well, I feel like they didn't give, it's so weird, like we lost 100 pages and they still didn't give us the background information we needed, like we had in the second book. Because I feel like a lot of Lara Jean's anger in the second movie made no sense, versus in the book it made complete sense. Okay, because there are parts where like Peter was like skipping out and hanging out with her to be with Jen. He was seen like cuddling with Jen. Like, he was doing a lot of shit with Jen and like lying about it to Lara Jean. Versus like in the second movie, we only get one time that he like ditches her to hang out with her, and then she has this big blow up, which feels completely out of place. But in the second book, that whole blow up, it was like a lead up of things. He was doing a lot of things with Jen, and Jen was throwing it back in Lara Jean's face, and because of that, she got closer with John Ambrose because her boyfriend was being a piece of shit and like completely like ditching her to hang out with his ex-girlfriend, okay? So they completely fumbled that in the second movie because like we only had one like tangible moment where it's like Jen and Peter were hanging out and like being a little shisty, and then she has this big blow up that just feels out of place. I do really like the guy they chose to be John Ambrose. I think he did it. Him and Lara had amazing chemistry when they had their scenes. Um, I just feel like we should have gotten more a little bit because in the second book, you're really rooting for John Ambrose. Like you want the demise of Peter. You want her and Peter to break up and she just move past it. The second movie, I feel like it kind of did that, but like it like really didn't. Like it was there, but like it hits you so much harder in the second book, and that's why like I think a lot of us were pissed off at the end of the second book because Lara Jean, out her own two lips, states that the better choice is clearly John Ambrose, but I love Peter, so I'm gonna pick Peter because she's stupid, she's dumb, and she's stupid. Okay, how are you aware that the better choice is someone else and you still like, but not I don't let him like I let him? Brain cells not functioning. And I feel like the scenes at the retirement home were much better in the book than they were in the movie. There's just a lot that was just fumbled. They kept doing the same overhead shot over and over again. That was in poor taste and poor choice. A lot of choices the director made just simply weren't good. And I don't know what that director did directing them, but like that movie lost a lot of its chemistry between, like, it seemed like it just felt like you were watching a completely different movie because like a lot of the spark and a lot of just the fire that was there between Lana and Noah Montenegro was all gone. It was all gone. I don't know. The second movie, like, I to this day pretend like there is no second movie. Now on to my second favorite movie and least favorite book, Always and Forever, Lara Jean. Okay, this is probably like my least favorite of the three books. I think it's a good conclusion, but like it's just not beating out the first and second books, right? But as movies, this is my second favorite movie. Honestly, because I rewatch Tall Boys Love Before all the time, I'm gonna watch movies 1 and 3 and pretend like 2 ain't never happened. I think, I don't know if the same man directs this movie as the second movie. It kind of feels like it because a lot of the, the stylistic choices are very similar, but then there's things that are different, like the transitioning between when she's like taking flights and like buses do a really good job of like making it feel like Lara maybe could have filmed this movie herself. Like it's very cute and very true to her character. She's very cutesy, very girly. I think this movie definitely did the best with its source material though. I feel like I enjoyed the fact that like we didn't stay too long on her lying about getting into Stanford. I feel like I was really scared that we were going to be stuck on that point for almost all of the movie, except for the last like 30 minutes. Like that's when she was going to tell him, "Oh, I didn't get into Stanford. I got into somewhere else." I was nervous. I was a little nervous, because I know how movies can be, and I was just like, she's gonna be lying to him the whole time. But we kind of like resolved that pretty quickly. I'm so happy we was able to like move on with the plot. We had a lot of different plots happening, because then after that, it is weird to me that she got into NYU, but she couldn't get into Stanford. I find that a little weird. I'm not gonna hold you. I feel like if you can get into NYU, like the same group of kids getting into NYU could also get into, like, she got into a bunch of other really good colleges, so her not getting into Stanford kind of didn't make any sense. But anyways, you know, and I appreciated the fact that we had everything happening in New York City, watching her fall in love with the city, because Lara definitely gives me the type of person that would move to New York City. She gives me the vibes of people who are so, like, in love with the city because they're not actually from there. So, like, when you're not from there, New York City seems like this magical place. But if you've been there for any significant amount of time, both sides of my family are all from New York City. It is not a magical city as, like, the yuppies make it out to be. It's like, it's a city. It's not that. It's an overpriced place to live. But to people who aren't from New York, it's magical. I do enjoy I did enjoy watching Lara and Peter, especially Peter having to get over himself, because that was the thing in the movie and in the book where Peter seemed to not understand that he was expecting Lara to make all of these sacrifices for him, because you didn't hear him applying to any colleges near her. That wasn't the plan. It was she go to Stanford too. Well, since she didn't get to Stanford, she got into another school near Stanford. She can go there and then she could transfer here. But, like, not once was there any moment where Peter was going to inconvenience himself to make this relationship work. Irrespective of Lara, which is always what happens with women. You're supposed to make sacrifices. You're supposed to give things up so he can be happy and he can have nice things. And I felt bad for her because Peter was just like, it's all about me, 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 me. And it's like, well, because he got into Stanford because they have a really good lacrosse team. And I'm like, cool, that's great for you. But what about Lara's hopes and dreams? Because honestly, she wants to be a writer, and going to NYU was always going to be the best option for her if she wanted to be serious about writing. NYU's the place to go. And I'm just like, do you not see how selfish you are? That everything is on your terms? And, like, what Lara wants is, like, second. But he eventually, pulls his head out of his ass. And, he's like, it's fine. He says it's fine, And then he does the whole, like, we can't do long distance. And I'm just like, if you love somebody, you can definitely do a long distance. Again, if you love them. And now if you don't, let it fly. Let it go. But, like, if you love someone, please do. Like, I know for a fact that I'm personally not built for long distance relationships, but I'm aware of that, and I will never get myself into one because I'm just not built for it. We might as well just break up because I need attention. But honestly, this movie was it was directed way better than the second one. Again, it feels like in the second movie because also, like, so in the first movie there are no, like, to my knowledge, because I've watched it a lot, if not, there's, like, no Asian, like, no other Asian kids in that school besides, like, Lara. Like, not even as just, like, people walking around. You didn't see anybody. And then in the second movie, they were like, oh, yeah, we should probably add some Asian kids to the cast. Or, like, add some Asian kids as just, like, extras. Because at one point in the first movie, there are no Asian kids in that school but Lara. And it's just like, is that not weird? Like, it's just you and your family. That's actually really strange. And then the second movie, they're like, oh, yeah, she's, like, Korean. We should probably, like, they're playing, like, black. Like, the second movie and the third movie, they played a lot more music from, like, Korean arts and stuff like that. They're like, oh, yeah, she's Asian. She's Korean in particular. We should probably, get some Korean music playing. Get some Asian kids after school. Because I always thought it was so weird in the first movie that there was, like, no other Asian kids but, like, Lara and her family. So they fixed that in, like, the second movie. In the third movie, there's still more Asian kids. That's really good. I'm happy we got some representation, even as extras. I really liked Jen and Lara's, like, growth from being enemies to, like, sort of being friends, and now they're going to NYU together. I'm so happy that we got this, like, complete trilogy. And I think this is the last movie. Hopefully there doesn't need to be another movie. I feel like we've had, our beginning, middle, and end. The whole story has been told to the best of their abilities. Again, the second movie is trash, but you know, you gotta move past it. Sequels are usually bad, you know? Like how people's second albums are bad, second movies are usually bad. But the third movie definitely picked up the slack from the second one. I really enjoyed it. I will be continuing to rewatch To All the Boys I Loved Before and the third movie and pretend the second one does not exist. I just feel like this movie was just so. It's just such a good feel good rom com. I don't find like it's cheesy, but it's supposed to be cheesy. I feel like you know because I've seen a lot of the classics like You've Got Mail and How Harry Met Sally and all that stuff. And 16 can't. Like, I've seen it all, but like this movie is so good. Again, it's nice to see women of color fall in love and be the main love interest and still be authentic to their cultures. That's always really good to see. I had a really good time. Like I truly, truly did. Uh, Again, I will always love these movies. Don't care if you hate them. They bring me happiness. They make me smile. And if you feel the same way, you know, we know good movies when we see it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you too loved All the Boys Loved Before, feel free to gush in my comment sections, and I'll be down there, you know, king with y'all and like having a good time. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.